Good morning, everybody. KT here with Wise Images Photography, and today we are going to see and talk a little bit about owls today. And I don't know if you guys remember this. I might be dating myself here, but there was a campaign back in the day, and I'm actually wearing my shirt that says, "Give a hoot, don't pollute." I don't remember how many of you guys actually remember that campaign, but if you do, definitely give me a shout out, like the episode, because we are going to talk about owls, so I thought it was appropriate to go ahead and wear my owl shirt for the day. So where are we heading off to today? We're going to go ahead and go down south towards Yeehaw Junction, where we are going to go ahead and visit the beautiful Blue Cypress Lake. While I was out there, I was able to go ahead and capture some barred owls. I was not able to see the gorgeous barn owls, but I did definitely get to see the barred owls, and I got to see the beautiful, absolutely stunning cypress trees on this lake. They just surrounded the whole area. And the nice thing about this area is you are not going to see tons and tons of development and buildup, because around the lake basically is the Blue Cypress Conservation Area. So you are not going to see the development that you normally see around most lakes. Now, this is a 10 square mile lake. It's about 8 feet deep all the way across, which apparently makes it really fantastic for fishing. I'm not the best fisherwoman in the world, but I will definitely have to go back another day and try it out. I was able to spend the day with Mark Smith, some photographers, and Captain Roy Bass from the Middleton Fish Camp. The fish camp used to be owned by Joe Middleton, who passed away back in 2014, and it was owned with also his wife, Jeannie. And I guess the story goes that they moved from another location. They found this location, and with like 3 days, Joe Middleton had bought this camp. And I don't blame him, because when I went there, I was like, oh my gosh, I was almost like, hey, I think I need to move there, because it was just beautiful and the wildlife was abundant. And it just was gorgeous, guys. I have no other way of putting it on this one. Now, what is really cool about this Blue Cypress Lake is that it is actually the starting point for the 310-mile river that we call the St. Johns River, that goes northwards, and it goes up to Jacksonville, and it dumps out right into the Atlantic Ocean. We were on the water for about 3 hours looking for owls and searching around, and we would stop a little bit and then continue on our path, and we would just kind of bounce around the exterior portion of the lake looking for the owls. We saw some gators, we saw osprey, we saw turkey vultures, and a lot of different other kind of animals while we were out there. So go ahead and check out some of the images that I got from the day. I told you guys we were going to go ahead and talk about some owls. So let's go ahead and talk about those owls. Some interesting facts. And this was something that I learned when I went ahead and I did some more research about owls, because I wanted to learn a little bit more about them, because as I was editing and looking at the images, I was like, wow, these guys are like really super fascinating. And so I found out that their heads don't actually turn all the way around like I kind of thought, and they actually go 270 degrees. And there's some kind of system that they have that works with their blood system. I didn't dive too deep into it, but I guess it helps with the blood flow to their brain when they are turning around like that. The other interesting fact about owls is that they will come out during the daytime. And the reason why they'll come out during the daytime, and this normally happens during wintertime, and the reason why this happens is because if the weather is bad or if it's really cold outside, the animals that normally go out and look for food and whatnot don't want to go out and look for food. They want to stay warm. And because they want to stay warm and they aren't going out and doing anything, that means that the owls will actually switch up their routine and they will actually hunt during the daytime, because they need to go ahead and hunt and get that food source. Another interesting fact is owls will eat other owls. Now, when you think about this, you have to think of like a bigger owl versus a small owl. So think of like a great horned owl versus a barred owl, which is a very baby owl. Another interesting fact is some of the owls will actually just swallow their prey whole, bones, skin, the whole works. Once we were back on land, the sun was starting to set, and oh, the golden hour looked so gorgeous as it was just going right across the lake. And I could not help myself. I'm like going, oh, I guess it's time to go grab my landscape lens. And so I went, I grabbed my landscape lens and I took a few shots of the cypress trees and took a few shots of the lake and whatnot, just because I could not resist. So Captain Roy saw me kind of hanging out and whatnot. So him and I got talking a little bit, and he said that as I was going to be heading out, he goes, you are going to run into tons of wildlife. You're going to probably see some deer on your way out and some other animals and things like that. So I was like, awesome, sweet. And so I took a few more shots and whatnot, and then I went ahead and I started to take off. And as I did, I came across this white ibis, and the white ibis was busy munching on this snake and kind of throwing around and everything. And then after I got done taking a few shots of the white ibis, I continued to go down, and I was just admiring, you know, the sun is setting and it looks so beautiful, and I'm just looking out on the pasture land and just looking, and all of a sudden, boom, I saw 2 deer, and they were the most gorgeous looking healthy deer that I had seen in my entire life. So I stopped, I took some images of these deers, and they were just sipping water and eating in the meadow. Absolutely fascinating to just sit there and watch them, and they were, you know, the ears were perking up and everything else like that. So then I decided to keep on cruising down the way just a little bit longer, and over to the left, I couldn't believe it, I saw some wood storks and some roseate spoonbills. Now the roseate spoonbills are on the Florida threatened list, and that was because back in the day they were hunted for their feathers, and now that it's illegal to do that, their population has has basically been starting to come back now. However, they still have that threat of loss of habitat, which a lot of other animals are facing the same issue as well. And then our wood storks, those guys are on the federal threatened list, and I was able to capture a few images of them as well. And then I kind of gazed up and I saw one of my favorite birds. Of course, I don't know if you guys know it, pileated woodpeckers are one of them, but I would have to say a close second has to come in, or maybe the number one is the kingfisher. And this little guy was just hanging out on the wire, and so I got a couple of shots of the kingfisher, even though the kingfisher was a little out of range. but still, I'm determined that one of these days I am going to get that close-up shot of that kingfisher that I want, and it's going to be completely in focus. That's a very fast bird. If you don't know about the kingfisher, they have a cute little punky hairstyle, and I used to have spikes and everything. My hair's a little long now, so some people kind of have joked about how I have the personality of a kingfisher because I'm like all over the place. Kingfishers normally don't sit still for more than 30 seconds, and so this bird kind of reminds me of me, so I think that's why I like this bird. And he's also a little noisy. I don't know if that's a good thing or not, but he's a little noisy. So that is it with the kingfisher, and the pileated woodpecker is just a magnificent one. So it's really hard for me to pick between the two of them, but I like both of them. If you like nature photography and going on fun-filled adventures, please think about subscribing to my channel and hitting that notification bell so that way you don't miss any future episodes coming up. Remember, if you want to see old Florida, definitely check out Blue Cypress Lake, because it is definitely old Florida. And if you like this video, please share it with your friends, your family, your photo club. It definitely helps me out. And go ahead and please put in the comment section below what was your favorite part of the video, or tell me, would this be a place that you want to visit? Remember, you are awesome. Have a fantastic rest of your week. See you later, alligator. If it's too cold outside or there's bad weather, the other animals that normally go out at night don't want to go out at night. I can picture them now. They're sitting inside their little dens with their little fires and going, nope, little owls, we're not going to go out tonight. We're going to sit here with our little... Yeah, I totally went there. Okay.